Retro Hangover is supported via Patreon by listeners like you. We would especially like to thank patrons Lyle McCarnes, Tony G, Tom the Superhero, Studstill Smash the Milkman, Lucas from Game Over Hell, Mast Keaton, Ozzy Garcia, JC, Megan Caruso, Dave Jackson, Jenny E, Retro Overdrive, Soha, The Emperor, Storm Beagle, Matt aka Stormageddon, Van Fertile, and B. Ross from Super Garbage Day, Jared Brayland, Randall Quiggle, Raging Demon, Keith Gasper, The Retro Vixen, Eric Guess, Nomad from the Retro Wildlands Podcast, Ash Event, Alan Bingham, Mike the Ref from Backbreaker Gaming, Alt, Gary Heather, Low5 Alex, Oh Me, Makeshift Money, Segaboy 7, Riskel, and Adam R. Your continued engagement and generous donations are deeply appreciated. Welcome to The Flights, a consumable curation of champions and catastrophes that is considerate of your chronometer. Hello everyone, it is I, Chris Copeland, and as always, I am joined by the host of this show, Shane, Dick Dragon, Celtaire. I was going to get into a fight with you about how we were going to do this episode, but I thought ultimately combat is never the best option.
No, I mean, I think that we could probably solve this dispute with an overly complex and entirely obtuse puzzle. That seems good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Zelda.
I mean, that wasn't my first thought, but yeah, sure.
Yeah. Well, no one likes Zelda, so maybe violence is the answer, but not today. Wait, people do like Zelda.
I don't know why Zelda is just like catching strays here. Like it wasn't even related.
Because if there's an opportunity to throw strays at Zelda, I will do it. Even though it's completely unrelated and random. I don't care.
See, and then you wonder why I say that you hate Zelda. You're like, no, I don't. I never said that.
I don't. I never said that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Ignore anything I said about Zelda so far, previous to that in this episode. Don't quote me with facts and things I've said. Quote me with things I want you to quote me with, okay? It's 2025. Yeah. Anyway, this is the episode about our top 5 games without combat. What does that mean exactly? Well, that's going to be up to our interpretation. I hope we're not wrong. And this category was suggested by Matt, aka Stormageddon, from the quotation mark fun unquotation mark and games podcast, which I think is a fantastic podcast. I think they did an episode about this very topic over there as well. So go check that out. But now it's our turn to talk about our top 5 games without combat. And Shane, any hot takes on this before we get into our list?
Not
or just takes in general, I guess.
I don't I don't think I have any hot takes. No, I don't think there's anything terribly surprising in this list, really. I mean, I know I'm just really talking this up. People are super stoked for the rest of this episode now, but you know,
I'm sure they are.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're creaming in their pants like a colonial butter churn. There's no combat.
Sure.
What does this have to do with anything? I don't know. But Shane, how about you get us started with the top 5 before I just die of cringe?
Oh, God, thank you. I thought you'd never ask.
Number 5.
All right, I'm going to start out my list with a co-op experience, and that is A Way Out. It was one of the ones that I played with my wife, actually, and it was a good time. And it's a narrative adventure, such as it is. It is co-op only, so you know you gotta you got to have like friends, or at least somebody that you can trap in a room for a few hours, however you want to go about doing that. But and you know,
I
if
love
you're
hookers.
yeah, I'm gonna pay like $500 an hour for you to just play co-op with me. I'm so alone.
Sorry,
But
escorts.
yeah, yeah. Well, when they're dead, they're just hookers. But so it tells the story of two convicts and focuses on their attempts to break out of prison and then their adventures once they mostly successfully do that. And sort of like the interpersonal things that go on between them and like the lives that they're trying to get back to, et cetera, et cetera. And it was very enjoyable. There weren't really any major super irritating parts that I can recall. And there were a lot of really great opportunities. I think they leveraged the co-op aspect pretty well. As there were a lot of opportunities where you had to kind of work together to solve a puzzle or, get past a certain section or what have you. So yeah, I'll start out my list with that one.
Yeah, good choice. Never heard of it, but I'm glad you talked about it. My number 5, there's going to be a theme I think that people are going to notice with my picks. They're going to be one of two genres. Shocker. But my number 5 is a game we talked about on the Space Channel 5 episode briefly, which is Luminous, the PSP puzzle game that has a musical theme. I adore this game. I think Luminous is fantastic. I haven't played any version of the game beyond the PSP original. I know that at the time of this recording, there's a new version coming out. I don't know if it was just recently announced or it's been announced for a while, but it looks great, in the same vein as Tetris Effect, which another game I haven't played, or maybe that would be on this list. But yeah, Luminous is a puzzle game where you take a square that has 4 squares within it, and you have to make certain combos, and it gets cleared off along with a musical beat line that goes along your screen. It's great fun. There's like so many vibes. It's just a really chill game. One of my favorite puzzlers of all time, and that's going to be my number 5, Luminous.
Number 4.
All right, well, we're just gonna keep this train moving right along, and if you will, come step back in time to the year 2007 with me, and relive the magic that was the original Puzzle Quest Challenge of the Warlords.
Is that combat free?
Nope, I do not count that as combat. You are doing puzzle matching. That is not combat to me. So I'm counting it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I actually had no idea that this was technically a spin-off of the like Warlords game series. I no clue. I thought it was its own thing.
Huh.
So that's news to me, but anyway, yeah. So the OG Puzzle Quest, man, it's funny talking about it now because this has been played into the ground. Like so many games have copied this exact formula that nowadays you talk about it and people are just like, oh yeah, that it's match 3 and you fight stuff because you matched jewels or whatever. Like, cool. There's like 1,000 iOS games like that now. But at the time, this was a lot more novel of a concept. And it really kind of drew me in quite a bit. I won't say that I played it like right off the get, but it was a few years afterwards, I believe, if I recall correctly. And there have been a number of like re-releases and ports of it where they've like added more content and stuff like that. I mean, actually all the way up to the Switch, I am learning as of right now, called Puzzle Quest: The Legend Returns. So I may have to look into that actually. But at any rate, some of the follow-up games to me weren't quite as good. I think it didn't quite capture that sort of lightning in a bottle moment that the first one did. But yeah, man, something as simple as a match 3 game, but tying it to like an RPG style adventure is it was a pretty cool idea.
I really like Puzzle Quest. I think it went on for too long. I think it overstayed its welcome. But I really enjoyed like the first 15 hours of it. I thought it was a really great game.
Yeah.
My number 4 is the game about catching waves with a sick looking butt, and that is Wave Race 64.
Hell
The game
yeah.
that's all about the butt. Yeah, go play that game. You're staring at butt the entire time. You better. And yeah, I mean, come on. I love Wave Race 64. I don't know how much I raved about that on the King of Games 96. Unfortunately, ran into Super Mario 64, and what can you do? But I don't know anyone that I've talked to that's played Wave Race 64 that doesn't like get a ton of joy out of it. I think maybe one person, and that person is a heathen, and I don't care to mention their name, also because I don't remember who it was. But Wave Race, Wave Race 64, man, it's just, it's not, is it my all-time favorite race? It might be my all-time favorite racing game. Like there's other racing games I could have put on here that I think are technically better and I may like more, but when I just think of a game, when I'm thinking of this topic, when I think without combat, I'm thinking, what makes me happy? You know, what brings me to my little happy place? And that's Wave Race 64. So that gets the nod of my number 4. By the way, if I did this list in a month, it'd probably be completely different. But Wave Race 64 is here today. So there it is, my number 4.
Number 3.
You know what's amusing about this? Mild spoiler for the rest of my list. I don't have any racing games on here.
No.
There are some that I
surprising.
probably could have, but nah.
Yeah.
Oh well. Anyway, my number 3 is more of like a collection of games, really. It's like a formula, because once they nailed it, man, did they really use it to its fullest extent before they then got shut down and sort of kind of revived a little bit, maybe, we're not sure. But that is all of the Telltale adventure game series. Just like pretty much all of them, because I think I've played like all of them. And though I will admit their formula did get a little stale after like the, I don't even know, 8th IP that they turned into a point and click adventure series, it still worked pretty well. And there are definitely some standout titles there. Like I absolutely adored Wolf Among Us. Actually, Tales from the Borderlands I like more than most Borderlands games at this point, I think. The Batman Telltale series was also fantastic. And of course, Walking Dead. So they had a lot of really great content in there. And though there are scenes that occur in many of these games that are maybe considered a scene that depicts combat, you yourself as the player are never actually engaging any sort of real combat. It's always either like a simple QTE or you're making some sort of like dialogue choice or something like that. So again, to me, that counts for the purposes of this list. And so that is why it is my number 3.
Well, my number 3 is I lied when I said it'd be 2 genres, because this is a different genre than the other 2. I don't know why I said there was 2 genres, but anyway, my number 3, I guess there technically is combat, because you are combating your waistline and you're combating calories. Hey, and that is because my number 3 is Dance Dance Revolution. I'm not good at this game, I should say. I think I'm better than some. But people who actually actively play this, I am nowhere near as good as they are. Probably Tiger. Tiger would whoop me incredibly well. Like he would run circles around me. I'm fairly certain about that. That's why his name is DDR Tiger. But I do enjoy myself a Dance Dance Revolution. If I can find an actual Dance Dance Revolution machine, I think it's fantastic. I love the song selection. I like the choices. I love the way that the arrows move, and seeing that go down like a bar and you're supposed to hit it, which at the time it came out was not entirely new. I don't think it wasn't like the first to ever do it, but on a mainstream level, it was novel. And if we didn't have that, I know we wouldn't have Guitar Hero. Who are we kidding? Yeah, it's such a joy. And I always feel more accomplished playing Dance Dance Revolution than really any other rhythm game. I feel way more involved, and I think for obvious reasons. So Dance Dance Revolution is my number 3. I just absolutely adore it.
Number 2.
All right. Well, at the risk of spoiling it, I'm going to say that we might actually make this a chronologically considerate episode. I am preemptively stoked. We'll see. But my number 2,
As you delay.
yeah, right, exactly. Damn it. Is a pair of games, although if I had to pick one, I would give it to the sequel, but that is Portal and Portal 2, of course. I mean, do I really need to say much more about those? Like, it's probably one of, or they are, although, okay, well, who the fuck am I kidding? Let's just talk about Portal 2. Everybody likes Portal 2 more, I think, is the general consensus.
Do they?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. And it is probably one of the best, like, first-person puzzle games ever made. And it's also got a pretty great story with excellent voice acting and memorable characters, et cetera, et cetera. So, I mean, it to me, it's an obvious pick. So I don't feel like I have to say too much more about that one.
Doesn't the first Portal have a boss fight?
Yeah, but again, I wouldn't count that as combat.
I'll give it to you.
I put it in the category of like it's still technically a puzzle, and you're not actually like, you never have a real like weapon per se. So yeah.
Okay. Like I said, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, it's my list, Chris. I do what I want.
Yeah. Yes, you do. My number 2, and the only reason I'm making it number 2 because I didn't want to be boring and make it my number 1, is Tetris. Because it's Tetris. It's Tetris, the most popular puzzle game of all time. Listen, if you're listening to the show and you don't know what Tetris is, why are you listening to the show? I don't know. If that was insulting to you and you really don't know what Tetris is, I'm sorry. Just go Google it really quick, and you'll see a ton of people just putting praise on Tetris. We've talked about Tetris before. So my number 2 is Tetris. There it is. I'm not going to say much more. Tetris is great.
Yeah, there you go. I'm also glad I didn't put it on my list.
There you go.
Yeah.
Number 1.
Well, I suppose that brings us directly to my number 1, which fortunately, I suppose there is no debate about whether it involves combat or not, because it certainly doesn't. And that is Guitar Hero. It has to be my number 1 because it's one of the only rhythm games that I like really enjoyed and put a ton of time into. And it's also like one of those things that are sort of like inextricably intertwined with my college experience. And that also kind of dates me, in case anybody didn't already know that. But yeah, Guitar Hero, well, I mean, specifically Guitar Hero 3, I think got the most playtime as far as I was concerned. But I think 2 is really where things kicked off. Like the first game, no shade, but they were starting with a smaller budget, so the track selection was maybe not the best. But then there was like a very obvious jump in Guitar Hero 2 when they were all like, oh shit, like people like this. And then from there it just exploded. And it was one of those things that I played weekly during college, and we would just like hang out at somebody's apartment and just play hours of Guitar Hero, just passing the controller around. So yeah, a lot of good Guitar Hero memories. So that is why it is my number 1.
All right. So this was a chronomatic, considerate episode for everybody. But what are your top 5 games without combat? And what defines combat? Join our Discord and let us know. You can find the Discord link in our link tree, which is linktr.ee/retrohangover.
You didn't do your number 1 yet.
I didn't. Okay. Shane, you know what to do there. Just cut all that out.
Yeah.
You're not going to. I'm going to embarrass myself, aren't I? Great. All right. My number 1 is Outrun.
Oh, okay.
For the arcade, Sega Saturn, because there's a port there and just wherever the ports are. I love Outrun, man. I fucking love that game. I try to stay away from it because once I start playing it, I'll just never stop playing it. I love the music. I love the look. I love the controls. It's not a hard game to get into. Very easy to get into. Very difficult to master, as we've displayed on our high score challenge before. Shout out to Mast Keaton, and also shout out to Ray and Omi, who are just crazy good at that game. But I love Outrun. I think it's one of the most pure and best arcade games like ever made in terms of just arcade racing sims. I know there's a lot of people who have fond appreciation for arcades. Naturally, they're a big part of many people's lives our age and older. But Outrun, even though I never really played it in the arcade, I just have such... As soon as I sunk my teeth into it on the Master System of all consoles, interestingly, I just have nothing but admiration for Outrun. And it has no combat. So I thought that would be a good place to put this game and at least give it a showcase and talk about it for a bit. So there's my number one, Outrun, for Sega consoles and legacy Sega titles, or one of the Yakuza games or whatever. There you go. Go play it.
All right. Well, there you have it. Our top 5 games that definitely do not include any combat, and we will hear no argument otherwise. That's not it. Let's say that's not maybe entirely true. You know what? If you have some commentary about that, we do have a publicly available Discord, so you could hop in there if you're not there already, which I don't know why you wouldn't be, because it's clearly the place to be. But
it's the bee's knees.
That's right. It is hip and happening. It is. Yes. It slaps fire. There. Okay, I got rid of all of the Gen Zers and the Gen Alphas. Fantastic. Anyway. Okay. At the risk of making this episode longer, you just reminded me of something. I was having this conversation with my wife like yesterday or the day before about like using the Gen Alpha slang like basically against them, and I came up with a fantastic line that she's gonna have to use in class at some point later on. And that was to just say that, you know, it slapped so much fire that they had to cook, and just and just go with that and watch them die of pure cringe, and it's glorious.
Yes, children.
That's right.
I'm one of you.
Hello, fellow children. Anyway, on that note, go to our Discord, and it's that and all the other stuff. It's at our link tree, and you can find that at linktr.ee/retrohangover. Our Patreon, our merch store, our socials, our YouTube and Twitch, all of it is right there just for you. Cringe definitely included, because we are the olds. So there you have it. Chris, anything you'd like to add?
No, not really. Just check out our streams on Sunday at 9 p.m. where we crash out over remakes of our beloved video games.
Yay! And then this is a reminder of why we should just all continue to play old games, because it was better before. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, I guess
pirate them.
Yeah. Obtain them. Yes, at any means, necessary. But on that note,
you can.
Until the next flight,
play with your friendly C's joystick.